a roll call, first of all. Any potential returnees on Sunday?
Yes. Liam Sutcliffe's got a chance at this moment in time. I think that's it at the moment, pal. I think that's it.
How difficult is it at the moment to manage so many players out?
I don't think we've had a game where we've had any less than 10 to 12 players missing. So it goes without saying, James, that look, it is gonna impact us. I think the fact that we've not been able to field the same spine for any two particular games, and a lot of the time we've had makeshift players playing in our spine. That's bound to have some impact on your team and on what you do with the ball. And if I'm honest, it has some impact on when you're training. When you're trying to execute some sort of defensive stuff and you've not got too many pivots to throw decent shots at teams, it does impact it, mate. But look, I won't say we saw it coming, but we knew around the COVID break pre-season with a couple of injuries, we could well face a testy sort of opening month. Undoubtedly, given a couple of suspensions and given a couple of, well, more than a couple, given the injuries we've picked up during the course of the games, it has made it even more challenging. I do think, despite not getting some wins in the opening rounds, I thought our effort were really, really good. And given the teams we were playing and the manner of performances, I think we've got a lot to build off. And then unfortunately on Friday, we had a very flat and energyless performance, which clearly were disappointing and a concern to us. Could we see some reasons for it? I don't want to sound like I'm sort of making too many excuses, but yeah, we could. We felt a little bit of it in the week, James, Monday, Tuesday. I think we tried as a coaching group. We all get our GPS numbers and our sports scientists telling us what we can and can't do. But sometimes, experience as a coach, you get a little bit of feel, and we just felt the boys were a little bit flat and down on Monday, Tuesday. We tried our best to try and, I guess, adapt and tailor the week and do one or two little different things towards the end of the week to try and energise them. But I'd probably say 10 minutes into the game, certainly 20 minutes into the game on Friday, the signs weren't great for us, and we're duly obliged with a very flat and under par performance.
So if you felt it early last week, has there been a different vibe early this week?
Yeah, I think so. Clearly, when you have a performance like that, James, it's the review's not great. Quite often, as coaches, we always try and find the positives in the performance, and I think there were some individual performances in there. King having his first game really, and he got knocked out after 5 minutes. But obviously, we could find some good individual performances in there, and guys that, given the situation we were in, really tried hard to rally us. Certainly the effort around us middle players, but generally it were a tough review on Monday. We have to hold each other accountable, and there was some very, very ordinary stuff going on in there. But I will say, our players, for the best part, copped it on the chin and have been really energised in training this week. They know, we get some feedback from them, and a number of them were feeling a little bit flat into it. And I said we tried to, I guess, manage that later in the week, but clearly not enough. And I think the boys are prepared and ready to roll the sleeves up and bounce back this week.
Is Luke Gale on schedule for his return?
Yeah, he is. He won't play this week, but he'll be available for our next game. Obviously, we've got a week off because of the cup round, so that'll give us opportunity to get Luke back in. His 5 weeks is up after this weekend, so everything's on track as far as he's concerned. Yeah.
And you've mentioned the numbers out. Has it got to the point yet where you've possibly considered any loanees?
No, not yet, because we feel it's around the corner, James. We feel we have got these guys coming back and coming back close. So no, I think to bring a loanee in for a week or two, particularly in a key position, and then you're starting to look at who actually can help your team that's out there. in such crucial roles. You know, we've got plenty of middles. We've got enough edges that are coming back playing. And I probably looked at that Friday too, James. I know you get 5 blokes coming back, but I don't always see that as a positive. I think 5 blokes coming back after layoffs, or the majority of them at layoffs and not having played much this year, that's not always an ideal situation. Having said that, we made the choice to do it because we feel we need to get these blokes back on the field and playing. You know, we can't keep them off training given the situation we're in. So we felt it would be beneficial to get them all back up and going. And in some cases we had to too because of the lack of numbers. But I think it's important that despite what has been a very, very difficult start, we do know that we have got some better times around the corner. So rather than trying to get too alarmed, we're not happy with the performance, that's for sure. But it's understanding the reasons and making sure that it don't happen again moving forward. It's always an opportunity to learn for us. Sorry, mate, go on.
No, I was just going to say, to that end, Huddersfield on Sunday, is it all about the response?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because I think James, as I said, despite, without wanting to repeat myself, despite us falling short in a couple of games, I don't think you could question our effort, and I don't think you could question some of the tricky circumstances we've had to play in. I would defy any club in the competition to lose 10 to 12 players and have a team that's going to compete in and around the top 4. The reality is that your squad players are going to help you and make or break your season, but at the same time, when we've 10 players missing, 12 players missing, probably 7 or 8 of them are all starters in your 17. That's a lot to contend with. However, we have got a really positive bunch of blokes that aren't getting too rattled or ruffled by the situation. We know we've just got to keep working hard, and if we do that, things will change for us.
2 final points for me. First of all, Huddersfield. I know it will be all about Leeds this week from your point of view, but how do you read Huddersfield at the moment, given the fact they're still looking for their first league win?
Well, I think they've been trying hard. I think they've been trying really hard, and a bit like us, they had a sort of fairly flat and poor performance over at OKR. I read Watto's comments after they played Saints, or his post-game interview. If we'd have had that effort last week, we'd have won. And we could probably think similar ourselves, but at the same time, I don't want to sort of disrespect their position. I think OKR have been going all right. I think they've been competing really well in a lot of games and asking plenty of questions a team. And I think that's the competition at the moment. I think right now, when you look from top to bottom, most teams are in games most of the time, and it's still early days. So I would look at them and think, I think there's certainly a well-organised defensive team, a lot of emphasis on what they're doing in the ruck. They've got some terrific players. I don't know whether Jacob Wardle will play, but he looks a player of immense talent. Lee Gaskell's been unlocking defences for him, doing some really good stuff in attack. They kick the ball well through shape. And I just don't think they're too far away, despite them not having a win. And you would look at them, and I know a lot of pundits at the start of the year, this team are going to be top 4 and challenging. They well may prove to be. They're on the start of their journey, and they've been close, and they've worked hard in some games and just not quite got the result. But as I say, it's very early days, and I thought they performed pretty well for long periods of the game against St Helens on Friday night.
And just a word on Alex Mellor, who's obviously going to play against his former side. He's had that England Knights call-up this week. How much has he deserved that? And he certainly put himself around last week. Are we seeing a more aggressive side to his game now? And is that something you've asked for him?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. I think Alex is at the stage of his career now. How do I word this? Where, we want to be a top 4 team, and we have challenged Alex to be a top 4 back rower. He's played now with enough experience. He's got some big game experience. He can certainly consider himself a regular first grader and starting player. And I think with that behind him, he's got to strive not only for a level of consistency, but a higher regular level of performance to elevate himself into the category of player. I think he's tried to really rise to that challenge early doors, and particularly when we have had a number of senior players out. I think he's taken it upon himself, as we saw last week, to to carry the baton a little bit. While he missed a couple of probably disappointing tackles last week, I don't think the desire to try and lift his team with his actions were missing. I thought that were there last week. So yeah, we've set Alex a couple of challenges, and I think he's really trying his best to move his career on and way people view him as a player to the next level, really.